All right, everybody. Good evening and welcome to another election night here. Not a huge election night, but one that we could possibly see a seat swing over to the Democrats in a southern state. So we're going to go over that, all the elections that are happening tonight. So that's going to be the big one that we're going to be talking about. We'll delve into that. We'll look a little bit into the South Carolina seat before we start getting some results. We also have elections in Virginia, Connecticut, Georgia, Arkansas. Not as important, not as big. Keep an eye on some of them to see how the swings are, but pretty much all of those are a foregone conclusion. In the state of Arkansas, we have just primaries, they're not general elections. And on the Democratic side, when it comes to the primaries in those elections, there's like a state house race, and there really isn't much of a difference, it seems like, between the Democrat and Republican. But we'll just see who wins that. So, all right, let's go ahead and start off with the South Carolina State House 89 special election results. Now, this is a race or a seat that the Republican Chris Murphy, not that Chris Murphy, another Chris Murphy, won 56.9 to 42.9. These are kind of the seats that we've been seeing in these special elections that are ripe for the pickings for the Democrats. I guess the most interesting thing with this one is this is going to be another Southern seat. This is a suburban Charleston seat. Very, not necessarily similar to, well, not necessarily different either from Georgia's State House seat 121 that we saw a few weeks ago. That was one where the Democrat won by a very slight margin, but previously in the last election, it was what, 60-40? So this 56.9% puts it in the range of where Democrats can pick up the seat. Now, here is the district here on Dave's redistricting, and these colors are based on the presidential election in 2024. So you can see it's very much that lighter shade of red, okay? Not the lightest shade of red. I believe this would be the lightest shade of red, but it's light nonetheless. If we go down and look at the statistics, come all the way down here to District 98, you can see with the presidential election, it's 52.96% to 45 for Donald Trump and 45.47 for Kamala Harris. Now, you can see 64% of the district is white, with 35% me and minority. Again, if Democrats start actually going into white Democrat or white Republican voters, where they're usually strong, that's going to be a hurt for the Republicans in the upcoming midterm elections, assuming we have midterm elections. Now, as with some of the others, I just go into Street View a little bit to see the houses. There's a lot of, golf courses, stuff like that in these neighborhoods. So you're seeing some middle class, upper middle class homes as well, 200 and some thousand square feet. So you have that. You come out here. This is more the Republican side of the district, and you can see maybe a little bit more rundown, but still, well, this could be December 2024, so this is a few months, so grass is dying. But you can see smaller homes. These places where you see the smaller homes are a little bit more Republican. The places where you see the bigger homes are a little bit more Democratic. So, but we're not talking about huge swings. So we go back over to the map. Let's go over to the precinct. So you can see over here, this big blue Democratic chunk is not in the district. It starts right here. So you can see it gets kind of Republican here, and this is where your Democratic stronghold is. I think these upper middle class areas right here are going to be what determines if this goes Democratic or not. Right in here. But let's see how these margins go down as well. We'd have to look at that post-election. All right, with that being the case, let's look at some of the other elections that we had today. We have a state Senate district in Virginia, State Senate District 15. Remember, we had the Virginia elections just, 2 months ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago now. But the Senate elections weren't up. But what happened was a Senate race ended up being open. And Michael Jones, who you see here, he was the state representative for District 77, which is the other special election that we have here. So he decided to run for state senate. So he's run for that, and that made his seat for the House of Delegates open, and the primary for that is there. These are both, let me go here. These are both very, very strong Democratic seats. So you can see the state Senate seat here at 62.2%, and the state House seat that Michael Jones, I say Johnson before, Michael Jones had, is 71.4. So in these races, we expect the Democrats to win, obviously. The question is, what is the margin going to be and what's the turnout going to be in these? Now, in Connecticut, there is a special election for a state house district, but in the same situation, you have this at, again, 71.4% for the Democrats last time. Now, I haven't delved too much into this one. Bobby Sanchez was the incumbent last time. Now the person running this time is Iris Sanchez. I assume it is the wife or a relative of the previous holder of this. But you do see that, oh no, my mistake. I thought that the Republican candidate was the same. It is not. All right. And then we have the Georgia State House District 23 special election. Now, you might have remembered when we saw Georgia State House District 121, the Democrats with the upset there was State House 23 happening as well. This one is a Republican district. And in the runoff, or in the general that we had before, we had the Democrat get 26% of the votes. So you can see the Democrat made it to the runoff. The Republican top one had 27.4%, and then the rest of them 22, 12, 11, and 0.3. So what we'll see is in this one, what we will be looking for is to see how high the Democrats can get over this 26.7 that they saw in the first round. Then finally, we have this Arkansas, these primaries here. Nothing really big to look at here, but yeah, there isn't much going on. I did some research into both of these candidates for the Democratic primary. Both of them seem pretty good. There doesn't seem to be much difference between the two. So it does seem like this is just more going to be a pick whoever you want is your favorite candidate type of thing. The only thing is maybe race will play a factor. Alex Holiday is white. Cordelia Smith-Johnson is black. Maybe that plays a factor. Who knows? So that is what we have today. And of course, I think everybody's watching this one and this state house district. Now, as you can see, it is just outside of Charleston, going up toward the north right here. So these are kind of like more affluent, higher income, condensed neighborhoods. So maybe not as Republicans, but if you know, like the Woodlands in outside of Houston, north of Houston, it kind of has that population density to it, or a lot of those places in and around the north and the west of Houston. It has that kind of population density. Now, one thing I want to do. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Can I? You always have to do this. Look at the congressional map. And so it does look like here. Yeah, so this is in, and I was wondering if it was, this is in the 1st Congressional District. Right, now this 1st Congressional District was one that I believe the Democrats held, and then Foghorn Leghorn won it a few years ago, or yeah, a few terms ago. He lost. Nancy Mace, I believe this is her district, right? Nancy Mace's district is the 1st. So if we do see a bit of a swing, let's go over to the statistics here. So you can see 42 to 55%. So this would be one of the closest districts that we have. if we all of a sudden see a big swing with a decent turnout, it could all of a sudden have some implications on the first congressional district in South Carolina. So we'll see how that actually plays out and how that actually works. So we have 2 more minutes until polls close. I don't know how they do the counting. I don't know if they will have a early vote or vote by mail dump immediately. They might. One thing that I've noticed with a lot of these elections, we have been getting results right away, quite a bit. So we'll see how that happens. So vote. Does Vote Hub now have? I see somebody mentioned Vote Hub. Does Vote Hub actually have? I looked up there earlier. I didn't see anything. So they must have done. Yeah, they added something for the special election. So we'll go here. Those are the results. Is it with the layers? Maybe. No shifts, margins. No. See vote density. You can see. Vote density probably comes in once. Oh, don't do that. Jesus. I wonder where you can see. Where can you see the? So somebody said precinct map. You can look up the, and only districts for states for their. I don't see anything regarding the 2024 results. But we'll keep an eye on that. We have this up. So let's see, what time is it? Well, polls close in 30 seconds. Oh, look at Vote Hub's 2024 map. Okay, I see what you're saying. The only reason I don't like going on Vote Hub's map, it's a little clunky. That's the only problem that I have. It's kind of clunky. See how it loads, and this is a problem. And I use Tableau for my stuff, and it's a problem as well. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why I mostly use what's it called? I mostly use the New York Times precinct map because it's not as bad. All right, let's go ahead and see if we get some results coming in. Okay, Marco, thank you very much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Would you move to Canada? I'd absolutely move to Canada. I went to McGill University. I lived in Montreal. I love Montreal. I just need to get up to a level B2 of French. So I would love to. State House, or no. Is this where we... South. Is this what we do? SC 98? I don't know. All right. So, but yeah, any thoughts on Carney? Well, I'm not a fan of his. I honestly, personally would love to have Trudeau back. I never was a fan of him. If I were to vote in that last election, I would have voted for the NDP. I think Jagmeet Singh at the end is going to look like a hero for keeping Polyev out of being prime minister, but we'll see. Yeah, I'd move back to Canada in a heartbeat, but I am moving probably sometime this year to Slovakia since I am now a Slovak citizen. Dave, where did you live? In the east or western part of Montreal? I first lived right next to McGill University, known as the McGill Ghetto. I lived off of Desrochers, and wait, is it Sherbrooke or St. Sherbrooke, I think. No, is it Sherbrooke or St. Catharines? The road by St. Catharines is the main one. I think Sherbrooke's the one up by the university. And then I lived over in Côte St. Luc for my second year there. I like Côte St. Luc a lot because it was like kind of getting away from downtown, but you could get the train or the bus to Ville Marie and then take that into downtown. I liked it. Great place. So that's where I live. In the search bar, it only accepts, okay, SC HD 98. Oh, I'm on this one. Jesus H. Do we have any results yet? Ah, there we go. Okay, so 5345. So there you go. This is why I mentioned this is where you got kind of the more affluent areas. This seems to be fine too, but there's a lot more voters out in this area, which might give the Democrats the edge tonight. Let's look at some others. So these again, these are not going to be really big elections at all. If there's any I want to watch, it's this Georgia State House 23. My guess is these polls in Arkansas are probably still open, so that's why we won't get anything. So yeah, I don't want to miss anything. So yeah, Dave, there's no reason for you to search that. All right, nothing so far, so hopefully we'll get something shortly. No, Côte St. Luc is that's the name of it. I mean, it's been years since I lived there. I lived in Côte St. Luc, right? That's what it was, right? Yeah, Côte St. Luc. No, it's actually more of a it's not Anglophone, it's allophone. So a lot of people who have Hebrew as their first language live there. So it's a very mixed languaged area. As a matter of fact, the first case of COVID that happened in Canada that I think of happened at like the King David retirement home in Côte St. Luc. That was literally the building across the street from me when I lived in Côte St. Luc. So yeah. And the reason I know a bit about these elections in these smaller places is just because I've traveled to every state in the United States except for one, South Dakota. So next week we have a big election, I think, in Tuscaloosa in House District 63 in Alabama, which will be interesting because in Alabama, if you ever look at the license plates in Alabama, the first two numbers are the numbers of the county. County 63 is I cannot speak, Tuscaloosa County, which is the number of the state house district there. The Republican won it with 66% of the vote, but I think Democrats are going to win it. That's my upset of the year. I think Democrats are going to win House District 63. And I'm not saying this because of like some other YouTube channels are like, oh, the Democrats are amazing, though they are doing really well. Some numbers YouTube channels just kind of like placate to Democrats, a lot placate to Republicans. And I don't want to fall into that trap. But in House District 63 in Alabama, actually, we'll go ahead and go to this while we're waiting for results. We have, and I'm sure somebody is going to pop up in the chat when results come up. In House District 63 in Alabama, which is right here, I used to live in Tuscaloosa. I used to live off of Rice Mine Road, and my apartment was, where was my apartment? Right here. I lived literally in this apartment right here. Okay. So let's go to the partisan lean of the precincts. The thing about this district is this is kind of high density. Here's McFarland, and it's kind of high density there. But you also have the University of Alabama. You have parts of, in a big chunk of downtown. Then you get 15th Street, and then getting down over by McFarland. This is where the old Bruno's used to be. This is Snow Hinton Park. That's what it's called, right? Snow Hinton Park. Yeah, Snow Hinton Park right there. University Mall right here. If you all know about the 2011 Tuscaloosa tornado, this is where it ripped through right here. So to me, and then you have part of Northport up here. To me, this is a district that the Democrats can flip. It'll be interesting to see how many University of Alabama students come up. Now, it is one of the most conservative uh, uh, campuses in the United States, but that just means it's just less liberal, right, than the others. But this is a race that I want to watch. This is an election. That's next week, so I'll be live streaming that. The Alabama 20 what is it? 20 or 63rd. Yeah. So, yeah, right now it's just a matter of waiting. Let's see if we got anything from Virginia. Probably not. And again, more interested in this Georgia State House district here. Nothing there. So nothing so far. So, yeah, I mean, while we're here, while we're waiting, yeah, I love Montreal. I have to say, Montreal is probably my favorite city in the world. Okay. Here, let me turn off this television I'm watching. I don't know if you've ever seen the channel Planes, Trains, Everything, but it's like become my new favorite channel, a Scottish guy who travels Europe. Um, if I remember, Vote Hub was lagging, so I hate to go to. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on a second. I hate to go to Decision Desk HQ, but yeah, I mean they come up with the results pretty quickly. So my guess is because we don't so obviously we don't have a pre-polling dump, which means that pre-polling. Now I sound like who pre-poll, is that what they say in Canada or Australia? Anyways, it's not what we say here. Anyway, so that means that they are counting the votes, all the pre-polling votes, right now. There wasn't a big dump beforehand. Um, Nothing's going on. Um, okay, can somebody tell me now? There are some people that I cannot stand, and this guy Harry Enton, what do people like about this guy? I can someone please explain this to me? I don't get it. What do people actually like about this guy? Like he doesn't seem to have any skill. He's like, here's a television screen I have with some numbers. I'm going to tell you that this number is higher than this number, so that means this number is more important than this number. It's like, please tell me, what is the appeal of him? Like Steve Kornacki, I didn't like at first, but he's kind of like he's grown into his job. I give him a lot of credit. Um, but that Harry Enton guy or whatever his name is, it's like how? I don't get it. Um, so oh, by the way, I'm going to make an announcement on my live stream right now. Let's see, as we're just waiting for any results to come in. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I do have a new YouTube channel that I'm working with somebody else. If any of you know who Kartik Krishnaiyer is, I am working with him, and we are doing a new channel. Oops. called Empire Nation. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it up here. So you can check that out if you want to subscribe. Empire Nation USA. Wow, we already have 3 subscribers and I'm not even one of them. Anyway, we have a podcast being released tomorrow. It's going to be a weekly podcast, and it's going to talk about the effect of American foreign policy on domestic politics in other countries. So we talked about the UK, talked about France, Germany, Canada, talked about Argentina. I'm just going to throw this out there because of what Donald Trump is doing. And that is that I believe that the Argentine government is going to go to the US, say, we want the Falkland Islands back. Trump's going to say, go ahead and take them. We're already giving you money, Argentina. Go ahead and take them. And that we're going to have another invasion of the Falkland Islands by Argentina against Britain. And then what's going to happen with that is because the Islas Malvinas at that time is going to be within the Western Hemisphere, Donald Trump's going to treat it like a protectorate. And if the British try to reclaim the islands like they did back in 1982, Trump's going to say, you better not do that because that's infringing on what we have going on here in the Western Hemisphere. That's my worry. All right, so here we go. All right, so 78.9. So that's a good swing already. So that's an 8% swing. 65.7, that's a little bit more of a swing. Okay, let's look at the turnouts okay, so we're talking about the state Senate seat had a 53,000 vote turnout. State House seat had a 17,000 vote turnout. So yeah, 336, that's probably one precinct. We got a few more precincts here, so that means it's probably multiple counties here. Nothing out of, South Carolina is the big enchilada today. So yeah. Another thing I want to make an announcement of while we're waiting as well. So, a few things. One, I do have a Discord channel. Hopefully if you go down to the description below, it has an invite to the Discord channel. So please go ahead and join that. And I also have a website, which let me go ahead and show you right now because I haven't made this announcement yet. I'll make it during this live stream, but I plan on making a video about it. I'm starting a new project called Project Flip Blue. And what this is purely because the Democrats are really, really bad when it comes to state legislative races, state House, state Senate. So one that we're talking about today, the Democrats are all into funding all these big races. And a lot of you, if you've donated to an election, you might have donated to, you might have donated to James Talarico or something like that. Let's put it this way. He's running for U.S. Senate in Texas. He's fine. If he has a chance of winning, Democrats are going to throw a ton of money to him. If you donate, $20, $30, $50, $100, it's not going to matter in his campaign. But for these state House campaigns, it can help us flip chambers. Like there is a possibility of the Democrats getting the trifecta in North Carolina. That's what we have. So if you go to votingtrend.com, just the title of this channel.com, you'll find the Project Flip Blue. And down here, I don't have all the states. Only have North Carolina because the filing deadline is passed. And what you can do is simply go to the websites of the candidates that are in these very, very close districts. And just click on there and you'll just be directed to their website where you can go ahead and find out more about them, contribute or whatever. If you're a resident of North Carolina, you can actually contact them, become a volunteer. The ones here that you see here waiting for a primary, I'm not mentioning anything until the Democratic candidates announce. I don't want to get into any primary issues, but I'm hoping that this can become a way that this channel, beyond just being a channel that informs people and all that, I'm very much on the Democratic side. I want to see Democrats win. I want to create something where we can use this community to throw, 10, 20, 30, $50, whatever, to these candidates. So what I'm actually going to do, we'll get back to the South Carolina results, see if we have anything there. We still do not have anything there. I'll go ahead and put the link into the chat so you guys can check that out. But I want this channel to be more than just explaining elections. I want to help my side win. I'm not going to lie. I want to help my side win. So, all right, yeah, so nothing in from South Carolina. Holy shit, yeah, that's getting bigger. 84% Democratic. Remember, this is a district 171%, but we only got 493 votes, 7% of the votes in. Might have good turnout in these. We'll see what happens. Turnouts might be pretty decent. Connecticut, still have nothing. Georgia, this is the one I'm just want to see if this number goes over 27 and what it can do. All righty. So now we just wait. I'll go ahead and look at the chat. We'll just go over and go to Decision Desk HQ to see what they have. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene is gone. Thank friggin' God. She is done. So yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is finny kaput. Done. Don't have to deal with her anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not I do not believe in the enemy of my enemy as my friend. Okay, she's right on. She's seen the light with Gaza, but the question is, does she still think that people should, die for not having health care? Maybe not, because it does seem like Obamacare and the funding for that is what kind of flipped her. So maybe she really has. What do you think about what will happen? Yeah, so I don't know, because the news is new. Have they made an announcement of that special election? I don't know what the special election laws are in California. And then the question is, you have the new congressional districts. I don't know how that would work. Maybe somebody in the LA Times or something has already written about it. I don't know how that would work, because obviously there are new congressional districts. Would the special election be in his old district? Because what would we say? What district does he represent now? I don't know. I have to see what that's like. So if anybody knows those laws, please let me know. So it'll be under the old congressional districts until around June. Okay. I'd have to look into that district. I mean, because that's just kind of breaking news that we just got. So, I mean, not just like the last few minutes, but just today. So I'd have to go ahead and look at that. All right, let's do a refresh. Let's go back to Georgia. Because I will say something. Of course I'll say something. I'm on a live stream. Jeez. If this number in the Georgia State House race ends up being over 40%, which I do not see it even nearly being that. But if it does, then Republicans are in trouble in Georgia. I do think that John Ossoff is kind of pulling out of the danger zone. It does seem like, see, here's the problem. I would say it does seem like Republicans have shitty candidates, but they ran Herschel Walker and almost won. Okay, so, what does that mean? All right. We just wait. Yeah, see, now this state house one, now with 40% in, it's gone a little bit down. That's under the number. And 65.5% state Senate seat. I mean, these are on average. Okay, we'll see how these pan out. I like Marjorie Taylor Greene better than Chucky Schumer. No, like or Scummer or whatever. No, not me. Marjorie Taylor Greene would probably like the idea of giving every teacher in the United States a gun, and Chuck Schumer probably wouldn't. I don't like that idea. No, you're right. You can't get complacent with John Ossoff. Somebody says you can't get complacent. That's right. You still fund his campaign. I think the only one where I think if you're a Democrat, the only one where you can kind of let your foot off the gas is Roy Cooper in North Carolina. I think that he and his campaign and his staff will be able to pull that election off, um, just because of his popularity, and he already has a machine together that he can raise funds, and he already has volunteers and stuff like that. He's not starting from scratch. He's starting off with, having a number of years as governor. So he's okay. John Ossoff also has a good support structure. So yeah. Come on, South Carolina. South Carolina. Everyone's probably at south of the border. I love south of the border, though. I don't know if any of you have been south of the border, but yeah, that's a crazy, crazy place. Screw it. Let's just go ahead and show it on. Since we're already in South Carolina, let's go to Street View. South of the border is like just some major rest stop fireworks place on I-95, literally south of the border of, because it's in South Carolina, right? So it's south of the border. Yeah, it's in South Carolina. And I don't know if it's still the way. If you go down I-95, you just see billboards for it constantly. But yeah, this is south of the border. Okay. So let me see what people say. Let me see if there are any super chats that I miss. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone that leaves a super chat. Yeah, so if she runs for Senate in Alaska, that's the smart move. She's not an incumbent congresswoman anymore. So, and this is my opinion, if you want to run for the US Senate as a Democrat, this is your year. If you are a congressional Democrat, yes, you will lose your seat, but the good thing I think is that the Democrats wouldn't lose their seat. So we're talking about on something on my Discord, and again, please go ahead and join my Discord. Okay, I got that right here. So I think there's an invite down below in the description, so you can go ahead and join it. We're talking about it on Discord today, and it's like in Kansas, for example, if you're Sharice Davids, do you run for the congressional Senate race there? Chances are her congressional district will go Democratic, but do you run for the U.S. Senate? Of course, she would be making the sacrifice if she loses, but I don't think the Democratic Party makes a sacrifice if she runs. So yeah, that's a possibility. And Democrats have won in Kansas statewide recently, so it's a possibility. Not everything in politics is based off of electoral college results. Well, yeah, I mean, the Virginia Senate races, all these are, that's no surprise. What I'm just really looking at here in the Senate race is to see what the margin is and see what the turnout is. If 46% of votes are in, they're saying that 816, it's going to be a little under a third of turnout. Not that great, but I'd like to see a third or more. Yeah, I mean, none of these are going to be a surprise. The only one that really we're watching to see if If it's a flip, is the South Carolina one. The Georgia one is the other one. Where is it? That I'm watching as well, just to see what the swing is like. If I'm the Democrats, if I'm putting in money right now into a state, I don't know if I'd put money into North Carolina. I would only put money into North Carolina at the last minute. There's all of a sudden some fiasco. I probably would put some money into Georgia. I do think that Ossoff's doing better, but obviously you put money into Michigan. Okay, because people were talking about this on Discord too. People are talking about putting a ton of money in Georgia and Michigan and North Carolina. I'm like, yeah, but your goal is to try to get 50 or 50. Well, in this case, because JD Vance holds the tie, your goal is to try to get 51 votes, not to be stuck at 47. So you want to, you might need to let the foot off the gas in some places like North Carolina and Georgia in order to slam on the accelerator in some of these other states. The states that I am saying to watch out for, I would be putting money, because see, it's not just an issue of whether a seat's competitive or not. First of all, I'd stay out of Texas. Texas is an expensive state. You have like 20 media markets. You have Houston and Dallas, which are two of the top 6 markets that there is. Then you got San Antonio. Then you got Austin. You got others as well that are expensive media markets. To run a campaign in Texas for more than likely an election that you're going to lose just does not make sense. Go to Alaska. You got what? Like Anchorage is like 141 as far as media markets. Or no, Anchorage is what, like 121, 141. Fairbanks is like 200. And then you have Juneau that's going to be less. Because remember, we're not talking about population. There's 2 senators for each state. Go run competitive races in states where you can just dominate the market. They could flood tons of money in as far as organization, as far as media markets, media buys, things like this, into Alaska. Alaska's a no-brainer. Iowa is a no-brainer. You have Des Moines, which is the biggest media market there. Then you do have Omaha. Then you do have, the Davenport area. But most of all, it is a cheap media market. And it's a good organizational state. You definitely go for Iowa. I'm still saying Iowa is going to be the upset of the year. We'll see if that happens. Still feeling that Iowa is going to be an upset. A lot of people who say, oh, Iowa's a Republican state, don't seem to have any electoral knowledge before 2016. One, again, very big YouTube channel that talks about elections. In a video recently, they said that historically, Iowa, the Democrats do poorly in Iowa. And I was like, okay, between 1976 and 2012, the Democrats only lost it once. You had Chet Culver as governor. Okay. The governor, they've had Democratic governors recently. Tom Harkin was a senator recently. They've held congressional districts there, and there's a possibility of them picking up 2 definitely and 3 possibly. And this is just what I hate about some YouTube channels, is that they just don't. I mean, I know it because I've been at this game for 30 plus years, but just do a little research. So yeah. So we got Georgia. Okay. Well, 32 is not bad. 32 is not bad. I don't know where those votes are coming from. If this gets up to 40, then that's impressive. Let's look at yeah, I don't think we're going to see much of a huge. We'll see about a 4% swing there. Nothing from Connecticut, no surprise. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, this is the one everyone's like looking at is South Carolina because this is a potential flip. Um, and again, so back to the U.S. Senate. Okay, put money in Michigan. I'm not necessarily confident that the Democrats keep Michigan. Pour money into Iowa. Pour money into Ohio. Ohio is maybe not the cheapest market either. You have um, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. You have Toledo as well, cheaper market, but still a distinct market nonetheless. So I think you put money into those. Florida, you stay out of. I haven't seen a serious candidate to run against Ashley Moody yet. And Florida is a pure example of what happens when a Democratic Party just absolutely does not give a shit. So, no, not Red Eagle politics. Somebody on the Democratic side was saying that Iowa historically has not been good um, for the Democrats. So much of a statement that I actually made a comment in that video. I'm like, really? It hasn't been. Um, and on top of that, Tom Harkin was one of the most progressive. Tom Harkin was probably the most progressive senator, I would say, in the U.S. Senate until Bernie Sanders came along. Come on, South Carolina. Jesus. Okay. We'll still wait. We'll just still wait. Let's see if Georgia, what a surprise, they declare him the winner. Want to see again, I want to see how close this number gets to 40. Let's go back to Virginia. I'm really looking at the turnout. Yeah, so this looks like it'll be about 1/4. I mean, excuse me, 1/3. There is a development. Okay, there is a development out of Florida that you should be aware of that I think can be detrimental. Not to Byron Donalds, and I wrote about Byron Donalds in my Substack, and I've decided that I'm not going to be contributing to Substack anymore. The big people or the people who are on there beforehand have just sucked out all the oxygen, so I'm not going to do anything on Substack anymore. But Ron DeSantis is going to. So Ron DeSantis announced today that he is going to prosecute Maduro in Florida because for immigration charges, which by the way, Florida has no say in immigration charges. That's a federal thing, but going to charge him for immigration violations for bringing in um, criminal elements and immigrants into the state. And I'm like, what better way to piss off Venezuelan voters who helped you in Miami-Dade County and in Orange and Osceola County? What better way to piss them off than to say that all of them are illegally there and criminals? He just insulted all of them. So that's a story to keep an eye on there, because that could flip the other way. Okay. I mean, as far as the Democrats in Congress, in Iowa, they should win the first, definitely. They should win the third. And those are the two, both of the Southern seats. Ashley Hinson in the second, that used to be a Democratic seat. The Democrats, I think, have a good chance to make that close, possibly win it. She's running for the U.S. Senate, and honestly, I like the U.S. Senate candidates that they have in in Iowa. Like whoever the nominee is, I'll be happy with. Another thing I'm going to try to do on this channel, I've already started reaching out to people. I want to start doing interviews on this channel. Tell me if that's something that you would like to see. I don't know. I'm just getting off of Substack. I'll probably put whatever I had on Substack on. I just might not even write. I don't know. It's just been a waste of time. And to give you an idea how much oxygen has been sucked out of the room, I've I haven't lost any subscribers, but I've lost 75% of my paid subscribers on Substack. That to me is just like, why keep up with this? Yeah, they haven't done much here. I mean, this Arkansas one, I don't even know why I'm watching it because it's just a Democratic. Um, well, now wait. Or no, no, no. Okay, okay. Come on, South Carolina, get your shit together. Okay, so let's speak about Minnesota while we're waiting. I think Tim Walz was forced out. I don't think he willingly went, unless he was just kind of in a I'm tired of this shit moment, which could have been. I don't know if he willingly went, but I did float the idea that it'd be great if they appointed Al Franken to that U.S. Senate seat if Amy Klobuchar decides to run for governor. Now, another thing you need to realize, I think, once Amy Klobuchar decides to run for governor, she's going to lose her national prominence. Okay. Um, Being a governor really mattered in the 1990s, early 2000s. Bill Clinton, George Bush, that's when it mattered. Doesn't matter as much. You don't see governors on TV. Okay. So I think she will lose her prominence in the national media. But I'd love to see Al Franken back in. Kentucky will not go blue in the near future. Not nearly. The only I mean I live like 1 hour drive and I'm an old eastern or excuse me, western yucky Kentucky. I call it yucky Kentucky because when you go over the bridge, if you're in the city of Cairo here, and they call it Cairo, right? It's Cairo. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, people in the South like to mispronounce European and African names of cities here. Like Milan, Tennessee is Milan, Tennessee. Like Vienna, Illinois is Vienna. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's Cairo, Illinois to me. Anyway, you cross over the bridge into Kentucky. There's like a paper mill there that just reeks to high hell. And I like really bad. And so I call it yucky Kentucky only because of that paper mill. So Louisville is about, and again, I won't pronounce it or whatever. Louisville, sorry. It's like where the only Democratic area is as far as congressional districts. And I think Frankfurt, where the capital is, there's some Democratic areas, but like the rest of it's pretty darn Republican. Oh, Klobuchar runs for governor. She'll she'll win. I mean, I'm not really worried about her. Vienna, it's Wien. Okay, right? Like I will be in Wien soon, actually. because I'll probably have to fly into Wien when I go to Bratislava and get stuff done. Which, by the way, Vienna, they one of my favorite all time musicians, Falco, is from Vienna, and they actually have a Falco themed restaurant, and I friggin' loved it. If any of you know, Falco is the one who did the song "Rock Me Amadeus." And the song Vienna Calling. See, there you go. Okay. Falco from Vienna didn't call it Wien Calling, he called it Vienna Calling. So even uh people from Vienna will call it Vienna Call. There we go. So Falco gave us some confirmation. No, Billy Joel is not from Vienna. Vienna Waits for You. That's the Billy Joel song, right? Yeah. Which I have on my Spotify. I got both of those on my Spotify. Actually, I have a whole Billy Joel Spotify list. Der Commissar, right? Which he did before Amadeus. I actually have Falco 3. See, I'm showing my age. And that's a funny thing. When I do my history channel, um, people are like, you don't know anything about politics in the 1990s. You weren't even born yet. And I'm like, dude, I was friggin' working in politics in the 1990s. Okay, let's see if we got anything. Yeah, like with these Virginia ones, I'm just looking at turnout. Connecticut, not a big thing. This Georgia one's just sitting on its hands. I wonder if this is all in one. Okay, full results. They'll probably have it by county. Okay, full results. I only show one thing, so that tells me that this district is entirely in one county. If that's the case, they might just do a whole entire dump at once. Who knows? Yeah, but Georgia's beating South Carolina right now. Now, if anyone takes forever to report things, oh my God, it's Palm Beach County. I mean, obviously California, but Palm Beach County. Oh my God, Palm Beach County is a friggin' nightmare. Just gonna move all these tabs over. I mean, again, the Arkansas election doesn't really matter. Yeah, Mozart's from Vienna. It's like really sad. Like when he died, he didn't even have a proper burial. Like they don't even know where his body is. I went to the graveyard where Falco is buried, and Beethoven is buried, and the like the former presidents of Austria, like Kurt Waldheim, who had an interesting history. I went there, and they even had like something erected for Mozart, and there's still like, you know, people are wondering, like, there's this controversy as to whether parts of Mozart are buried there or not. But yeah, I mean, his, and then his wife, like, I guess he was buried one place, and his wife sued to get his body, and something. Yeah, it's like a tragic story. Sorry for people on the live here in the live stream. We're just waiting for South Carolina. So these stories about Vienna, Falco, Billy Joel, or whatever, just what's happening to fill up the time until we get something from South Carolina. Excited about the Bears. I'll get excited if they're in the Super Bowl. I don't watch sports that much anymore. I watched Formula One. Okay, so the district is entirely inside Dorchester County. Okay, thank you. Um, I used to watch Formula One, but I stopped it until I stopped watching Formula One now that the Americans have totally fucked it up. Um, but yeah, Blackhawks won their Stanley Cup. I'm happy. Football, don't really even watch. Couldn't tell you anything that's happening in college football. Basketball, never watched basketball. Hockey is my favorite sport, but like I said, the Blackhawks won and now they suck. Baseball, I started watching baseball now. It's probably because the Blue Jays made the World Series. I just keep on reloading this to see if anything pops up anywhere. Just nothing. Let me go to the county. Um, I put in Dorchester County, and the first thing I'm Google searching it first somewhere else. The first thing that comes up is Dorchester County inmate search. Uh, okay, elections. 2025. Yeah, the county isn't even doing it, so you have to go through South Carolina votes. So yeah, the county isn't even reporting the numbers. So I guess that means that they're not going to be able to web scrape, like all these people are not going to be able to web scrape off the county, which usually gives them the numbers quickly. So they're probably going to have to web scrape off the South Carolina state website, which means the state website might have them first, but we'll see. So let's see that Virginia Senate race. Someone said a 6 point. Oh wow, yeah. What was it before? 62. Yeah. So and this was a shift as well, up to 67. But only about a third of the people voted. Okay, wait. January 6, 2026. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it says last updated Wednesday, December 31st, 6 days ago. Is this the reason why we're waiting? Is this the reason why? Are they not updating the state results? Because it's been 51 minutes. I figure we would have gotten one friggin' precinct in, especially considering it's a special election. You're not going to have a huge turnout. See, I don't care if a candidate, I guess they're talking about age of candidates. I don't care if a candidate is old or young. I care if their ideas are good or not. Bernie Sanders, everyone's like, oh, he's 80. He's 80. Who gives a shit? I'll vote for him for president. I don't give a shit. Trust me, there are a ton of young. Josh Hawley is younger. Would I vote for him? Fuck no. Right? So age to me, I don't give a shit. As long as you have a good vice president that backs you up, I don't care. You can be 100 years old. If you're like Bernie Sanders jumping off, jumping around, showing that you got some spunk in you, fine. I'm good with that. I bet we are not getting results because they're all going off the state, and the state has not updated in 6 days. Because it just seems like, and then like I said, I looked at Dorchester County and they're not providing the results. I don't think we need age limits in politics because trust me, there are some dumbass young people, okay? And there's some smart ass old people. I'm getting in that old age. It all depends on what you stand for. Doesn't depend on what your age is. That's at least my opinion. Vote Hub have some. Okay. Finally. Where is this though? They're not showing where it is. Ha! Vote Hub beat. Okay, so that's that's got to be one precinct. Or a few. It says 27%, but where? I'll reload this map again. I don't know if this is good or bad because I don't know where the votes are coming from. They're like, all of these precincts say 0. So they must be getting them from the county. Because the state still hasn't updated in like 6 days. We'll see, is it? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess it is better if you're watching. Come on, where are these votes coming from? Let's see. The amount of votes that were cast in 2022 were 11,709. So that gives you a midterm benchmark as to. Now, I don't know if you remember, there were a few times that we had in some of the last elections where like Vote Hub and others posted some numbers and then they pulled them back and then posted other numbers. It was like one showing that a Democrat was dominating one race or whatever. And then the numbers were like vastly off. So we'll see. Okay. So yeah, now everybody else is putting those numbers up. Let's put it this way: if those precincts are up here and it's 51-48, then this is going to be a Democratic win. But again, no one's saying anything. Brendan, thank you very much for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Here we go. Whoa. Oh, Just saying thanks for everything that you do, and that my crazy dog would make a better president than Trump. Thank you very much, Brendan. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, you're probably anyone would make a better president. That's a shit turnout, and that's so far a shit result because these would be. It can't be. Really? Because these are going to be Republican precincts. Huh. This is, I don't know, but see, it says 30. See, this is why I don't get. It says 32% reporting, but according to this, only three precincts aren't reporting. You're not going to report part of a precinct unless they are like, unless they do stuff really screwed up in South Carolina. So, like they say 36%. Um, See, this is what I'm talking about, right? New York Times says 36% of the votes in. Decision Desk says 48% of the votes in, and Vote Hub says 32% of the votes in. Which one is it? Either way, it's under 50%. Okay, now how can we have all the precincts? How can we have all the precincts in and be at 32 unless they're doing vote by mail and early voting as one big dump at the end? Right now, that could be what it is. This could be election day voting. And what they're going to do is they're going to do vote by mail and mail in ballots as a big dump at the end. So this actually might be a good result for the Democrats. I don't know. I'd have to look up those statistics. Okay, Dan, if you do, thank you very much for the super chat. Content suggestion: you should make educational videos and teach stats and election analysis. There is a massive thirst for it. Teach us to fish, please. I will be doing videos about voting behavior and understanding voting behavior and all that. That will be on my Patreon, right? I'll admit I don't like giving the barn away. Okay. I will probably within the next year do a whole entire video or a course about how to do numbers for your own district. Okay. So, like, if you're a person running for state house, state senate, whatever, kind of do a whole entire video series that would be a course to do that. Because a lot of people, like, I saw one guy charge a candidate like $4,000. It was like the most elementary statistical crap that I had ever seen in my life. I'm like, holy cow, that's what you had. And I think that's one of the reasons Democrats lose a lot, because their numbers people are absolutely dog shit. So yeah, that will be coming up, but that kind of content's going to be for Patreon. But like I said, the numbers crunching and how to look at numbers and statistics and all that, I had this course planned in 2019 when I lived in Russia, right? So it's been on ice for the last 7 years. So maybe this year I'll come around to doing it. Yeah, so I have a feeling what we're seeing right now. This is election day votes. Now, okay, let me go back over to South Carolina, finally, 7 minutes ago. What I want to do, results, I want to look at 2024. So I guarantee you that's what's happening here. '24 General election. All right, I'm going to throw this up here. So this will give us an idea. So guarantee you this is what they're doing. State. God, you can't just pick the select county. I guess I can select county. That's it, right? Dorchester. Oh, that's just giving me the. So I got to scroll all the way down to the State House District. Are you freaking kidding me? And it's State House District 98. Come on. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. All right, votes, results. Really? So I was hoping that they would have a vote breakdown of like early vote, vote by mail, and election day votes. Trump's approval number doesn't matter. Biden had a horrible approval number, though the Democrats did well in 2022. Approval numbers prove nothing. Because how many people say, "Oh, I hate him, but he's better than the other side," right? Wonder if they just don't have them in general. See, view contest details. Yeah, it just has results. It doesn't have by voting method. I'm wondering. Okay, Dorchester County might have it. Election results, State House primary, PPP, State House. Those are all primary results. They're all 5. Oh, well, what I could do is I can look at the primary results. Okay, so here we go. These are the primary results. Okay. So we can see election day voting, then absentee. So it's one of those excuses needed for absentee. So it seems like 1/3 of the vote might still be out. So my guess is this early vote that you see here, like that's 1/3 of what we have here. So I have a feeling we still have 1/3 of the vote out. If that goes Democratic, then it could flip. And I will say if the Democrats don't pull this one off, but they were able to pull off the Georgia 121st, this would probably be, it's a Democratic swing, obviously, but it'd be a little bit of an upset. This is one that you kind of want and hope that you would be able to get. Z Rizzy, it's like Sky Rizzy. It reminds me of the. Thank you very much for the super chat. There are, elections in the Alabama 63rd and the 9th. So the 31st, I assume the Texas district is the 9th. Formerly CCATS. Okay, CCATS, thank you for joining me. Great to have you on. CCATS Patreon member as well. Thank you very much. One of the, I'd say, good friends of the channel, have been contributing and putting comments for quite a while. Thank you very much. So I already talked about the Alabama State House District earlier in the stream. And yeah, I'll be doing because I used to live in that district. So I know the district quite well. Mario Smith, thank you for the super chat. DNC needs to hire you ASAP. They won't hire me. I've the reason I don't work in politics anymore is that I kept on telling them the truth. I would tell them, you don't have a chance here. You have a chance here. I didn't sugarcoat stuff. And in politics, you have to figure out how to put perfume on a pile of shit. That's what it is. So if somebody's running in an R+10 district, they want you to figure out a way how to make that a win. And it's like, there's no win there. Okay. I will never work in politics ever again, which is I have the political knowledge, but I never want to work in politics again. I don't want to consult a campaign. I don't want to help a campaign or anything like that because they're all full of shit. They all just want to be told what they want to be told. And I'm just not going to do that. And I've lost a lot of clients that way because I was like, man, it's going to, I'd give them the numbers and they were like, well, we don't believe in those numbers because John down the street talked to my friend Phil and he's going to vote for me. I'm like, yeah, well, John and Phil aren't the only people who are voting in your damn district. So, yeah. So I'm done with politics. Yeah, so that might be the only, but if it's slightly Democratic, obviously that's going to be enough. I don't know. This one could be close. And I don't even know if these precinct numbers are correct. I think that I still think that Tuscaloosa seat will flip. It's just a gut feeling, okay, based on my knowledge of that district. Ken Martin, I mean, this is not necessarily the best example. I so far have no problems with Ken Martin. He has done one thing that the Democrats have been needing to do for years, and that is to concentrate on state house and state senate, state legislative races. The Democrats from 1992 till really Ken Martin were just like president, U.S. Senate, Congress, governor, and that's it. They didn't think about constitutional offices. They didn't think about House and Senate at the legislative level at the state. They don't think about local county elections, city elections, and all that. It does seem like the Democratic Party under Ken Martin is really focusing on these small ones because I lived in Florida. Okay, when I was in Florida, I got involved with Florida politics in 1991. Okay, when I got involved with Florida politics, the Democrats were in control of the House and Senate. Lon Childs was the governor. Everything was fine. Republicans took control. First, you had the state Senate split 2020. Senator Thomas, I forget what his first name was, and Senator Andrew Crenshaw split. Then what? 2 years later, maybe 4 years later, but 2 years later, the Republicans took over the state house. Dan Webster, the current congressman, became that. I actually was running against Dan Webster for like a hot minute, for like 3 weeks until I decided, I'm not going to do this. And then the Republicans took over. And then all of a sudden, the best Democratic ticket that we've seen in Florida for quite a while, Buddy McKay and Ken Dantzler, they lost. Jeb Bush was in. Now it's a Republican state. And it all happened because the Republicans focused on winning the state house, winning the state Senate, winning school board races, winning county commission races, and all that. Perfect example, Senator Mel Martinez. Mel Martinez was, when he first started off in politics, as far as what I remember, he was the lieutenant gubernatorial candidate with someone named Ken Connor, who was the far right pro-life candidate, the most far right of that 1994 Republican primary field. Because you had Jim Smith, you had Tom Gallagher, you had Jeb Bush, you had Ken Connor, you had Andrew Crenshaw, I think. So that was the group. And Ken Connor was the far right candidate. So obviously Ken Connor loses. Mel Martinez is out. Well, Martinez comes back or is in Orlando, runs for Orange County mayor and wins. Then he runs for U.S. Senate as Orange County mayor and wins. Okay. And you talk about a guy who, in 1994, who was a failed lieutenant governor's candidate, lieutenant gubernatorial candidate for the Democrats. You see him all of a sudden being a U.S. senator a few years later because he went through the correct paths. This is why I think the Democrats have lost so much. They've not built a bench. Now they're realizing where they're going to need to build. And this is the problem. Let's go back to Florida. This is the problem in Florida right now. The Florida Democratic Party has done such a bad job at the legislative level, the local level, and all that. They don't have anyone to pick to run statewide, which is the reason why you have to have David Jolly, a former Republican, run. And on the U.S. Senate side, just people that nobody even knows of, right? So, yeah, that is, I think I just that alone has made me have confidence in Ken Martin. I was skeptical because you know what? The problem with, okay, the DNC chair or chairs of any political party are not political positions. They're organizational positions. They're positions that you run like a business, not like a political party. So everyone has this, oh, this person's on the left, this person's right, this person's funded by billionaires, this person. That's not this. Okay. Running a political party is more akin to being a manager at a friggin' gas station than it is to being a politician running for a political party. It's organization, it's management. People complain about Ken Martin saying, these are our billionaires. Well, you need to raise money in the party. Okay. Now, is there an issue with the Democratic Party usually getting involved with primaries? Yes, that is a huge issue. That is a big no-no. And the Democrats did that. I think it's happening a little less. The David Hogg being pushed out of the party for no apparent reason. Okay. Was that bullshit? Oh yeah, that was bullshit. That was not a good thing. There have been problems. I'm not saying that everything's hunky-dory with Ken Martin. He's had some issues. He has to answer. But I am very happy that he is focusing locally. We need to build, okay? She's in the wrong state, but that's more of a congressional district. I was going to say Afton Bain, right? But yeah, but she still is somebody who is in a state house district, ran for Congress, and could be a future leader of the party. Now, unfortunately, I think she's in the wrong state for that, but states can change. Elections aren't static. Again, I remember the days when the Democrats would win Tennessee, win Arkansas, win Louisiana, win Georgia. Okay. I remember those. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Okay, we got some numbers, and the Democrat is slightly in the lead. Let's see if they all have changed yet. Nope, but Vote Hub has it. All right, so it says 44% of the vote in. So my guess, that's a pretty big jump, though. How the hell are they counting this? So this is good. This is good. This is actually pretty good. Okay. I wonder if I'd like to know if there's somebody out there Because I'd like to know what votes these are. Okay, are they election day? Are they vote by mail? Or are they absentee? Like I said, absentee is excuse absentee there. I don't know. So this is good. Let's keep going. Let's see what happens. Okay, everyone's kind of everyone's up to date. All right. I don't. Let's see. Okay, so I just want to look this up. Does state law require automatic recounts in South Carolina? Yes, when the margin is less than or equal to 1% of total votes cast for the office between the number of votes qualifying a candidate to go to run. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's for a runoff. No, 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 no. Oh, no. Okay, so that's it. So if it's within 1%, does look like there can be an automatic recount. Okay, which is where this is right now. No one can request a recount in the state. So if the Republican loses this and it's just outside of 1%, the Republican can't ask for a recount. It's impossible to do so. So, oh yeah, we can look at those shifts. Yeah, what button is that? Shifts. See, yeah, so here, this is weird. Why are they only showing the shifts here? Like, for example, I mean, that's a major shift. Like, so some of these are shifting over to the Republican side, but why? Uh-oh. Please let me know if I'm still on. I just had a Okay, let me know if you can see or anything because I just had my shifts are shown in fully reported precincts. Okay. But why wouldn't a precinct be fully reporting? That's why I don't know. Unless it's like early vote, vote by mail, all votes in a precinct. Because usually you vote in a precinct, you have one thing and that's it. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's like I don't know what happened. And the reason why is I just got an aw snap thing and it was just like my what I had here just like cut out all of a sudden. So yeah, so Facebook. I'm looking at I have something here that says only face, and that's why I said Facebook. YouTube just stopped. Now let me see. You know what? That's probably my webcam. As far as me being concerned. Yeah, I had something that was not working right. So I'll look at me again. Okay, that looks good. All right, so yeah, and I don't know why the maximum option is 720 because I have my video. I have the resolution for the web camera is at 1080. So I don't know why this is. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. Maybe YouTube only streams at 720. I don't know. I thought they did stream at 1080, but my web camera is at 1080. All right, so technical issues done. All right, back to what we're talking about, right? All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna take a look at that Georgia race again. Still don't have any updates with that. So I do want to I want to see how close that gets to 40%. Yeah, it is YouTube being YouTube. Yeah, but all of a sudden because I'm looking at the chat right here, all of a sudden the screen went white and it said "aw snap." I'm like, oh great, did it knock me off my stream? Luckily, I don't think so. I got Streamlabs over here. That's what I'm streaming off of. So what I have over here for YouTube shouldn't really even matter. All right, so I guess we just got to wait for the next batch of votes. My guess is they're updating every 10 minutes or so. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it says YouTube stream. So there must be, you know what I might need to do? What I might need to do next time, maybe I have to do no, but I swore when I did the settings for this, I set the resolutions for 1080. So I do not know why. Because my Streamlabs at 1080 right now. And I swore that when I set this up, I had it at 1080. All right, well, whatever. It is what it is, right? All right, so I guess we can talk about other things. Well, let's look at the other elections. These elections looking really good in Virginia. Yep, so those are done. Looking really good. This Connecticut State House race, still nothing. Still waiting on some more numbers from Georgia. And honestly, who really cares about Arkansas just due to the fact that it's a primary? Yeah, I mean, those Virginia seats don't show any flips. So those were strong Democratic seats anyway. But I mean, even this is if it ends, oh, okay, now we got the Republican back ahead again. 51%. Now let's look at that shift, see where it is. Oh, wow. See, that's weird, right? Here you have a precinct that 52.9% swing to Satani. And you have this other one that had a 35.4%. It seemed like some awful weird ass. Okay, let's look at the margins. 37, 36, 4 and 1. Okay, that's why. All right, so we're back within 2%. 52% of the votes in. And we'll see. Let's just wait. Yeah, there's a race going on in Georgia. I've been looking at that one. I'm just waiting for them to update the numbers. They have not done that. I don't even know if oh, they do. They do have them here. Yeah, they still have the same numbers. All right, so let's see how this pans out. But man, they are slow. I was hoping to get some dinner after. I mean, I don't need dinner, but I was hoping to get some dinner afterwards. I need to start eating friggin' salads and shit. But I was hoping to get some dinner afterwards. I'm like, starting to stream at 5:45. This thing will be done in an hour and a half. Go get something to eat. Nope. South Carolina is just dragging their ass on this. Well, I mean, so somebody asked, what's the state of the races? There, there aren't this race, the South Carolina 98th, is the only one that could be flipped over to the Democratic side. All the other races are pretty much foregone conclusions. In Georgia, that's going to be a Republican seat. The ones in Virginia are going to be Democratic. The one in Connecticut's going to be Democratic, and the Arkansas races are just primaries. Okay, this one in South Carolina is the only one that's like a competitive seat between the two parties, and we're just waiting to see more results. Okay, so Vote Hub has 52%. See, this is what I'm saying. 78% according to a decision desk, and 59% according to New York Times. Like, they're all over the place. And you know why that is? Because usually it's based on precincts reporting, not votes reporting, because they don't know how many votes are cast. You can't predict outcome. So, in all honesty, the reason why these numbers are all totally different, 59%, 78%, and where is it? 52%, they're pulling turnout numbers out of their ass. That's all this is, right? Because it's usually precincts reporting. So if you have, 10 precincts and 5 of them have given you numbers, then you have 50% of precincts reporting. So all these organizations are just pulling this out of their ass, but like, we don't know. We really don't know. Phone calling is phone calling and texting. I don't recommend. I mean, it's coming to the point now that, you know, because I worked in field for so many years, people just want to be left alone. They don't want to deal with a phone call. They don't want, like, if somebody calls up and wants to talk politics, and when people do phone calls, when they do the phone banking and stuff, it's just IDing. That's all it is. Okay. And if it's not IDing, that campaign's doing a shitty job. You shouldn't be using the phone call for persuasion. Should be using the phone call, say, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to support? Blah, blah, blah. Get them in the system. Then use the media to persuade whoever that voter is. Build up your list. Um, People run campaigns. Yeah. I mean, this is a huge problem with the Democratic Party. They are so inefficient at running campaigns. Every day matters. Every hour matters. You only have a finite amount of time to win this thing. And a lot of campaigns, like, fuck around with shit that don't matter. And it's just bad. See, that's another reason. Like, I've worked on some campaigns are good. Some campaigns I really enjoyed. There was one, Kathy Allen, the last campaign I ever worked on. Kathy Allen, when Jason Chaffetz left Congress, John Curtis, who's the current, senator from Utah, he ran. I think it was the 3rd congressional district we had, and I was running Kathy Allen's, the Democratic candidates, field operations, and our goal was like one thing. Our goal, or at least my goal, was one thing. I knew we weren't going to win, okay, but I was like, let's win Salt Lake County. And if I remember, I think we did win Salt Lake County. But the goal is to get as much info as possible, right? And one of the problems with the Democrats is they don't pass this info on to the next campaign, right? All right, so we still don't have anything with 74. Now it's 74%. Now it's 74%. And did the numbers even change? 78%, 59%. Who knows? Pokemon Go to the polls, the late Hillary Clinton. No, but I will. I'm not a superstitious person. I'm just going to say that I'm not superstitious. But I don't know if you remember 2016. They did the whole shattered glass ceiling thing, and they had Katy Perry there doing a concert like a few days before election night. You know, because for some reason the Democrats think if you just go on TikTok and throw Katy Perry up on the screen or something, you'll win younger voters. Like they really kind of have a really shallow opinion of what younger voters want. Anyway, and like I said, I'm not superstitious. I thought Kamala Harris was going to do well, though the numbers were not looking good. I'm like, again, we can't see what happens on election day. I'm like, she might be able to squeeze this out, because Michigan and Wisconsin were looking good. I'll admit I got those wrong. Pennsylvania not as good. Georgia was like, nah. North Carolina gone. Really hard to get a read on Nevada and Arizona. So I kind of was in an iffy position. And I didn't tell you guys this because it is superstitious. But looks like we got more votes in and it's becoming more Republican. 51.7 to 48.3. All right, we'll see what keeps going. Ford isn't closing the gap. Ford is ahead of the gap. Okay, now one thing I wanted to look at, 11,709 votes. Yeah, see, and this is a low turnout. I mean, if we're at 85%, this is either a very low turnout election or it's either a very low turnout election or there's still a lot of votes to be counted in some other precincts. Because remember, usually the bigger precincts are going to come in last. Okay. So, still in there. And personally, if I'm the Democrats, if you don't pick this up, even by the slightest of margins, it kind of was a defeat tonight. It's one of, I mean, obviously the swing is still going to the Democrats, but you wanted a bigger swing. Let's see. Anyway, as we're waiting, back to my story. In the last few days of the campaign, Kamala Harris I don't know if it was Instagram or if it was TikTok or whatever, but Kamala Harris had a picture with Katy Perry. That was the moment I knew that Kamala Harris was going to lose. And again, I'm not superstitious, but I was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, they're running the same campaign as Hillary. And I was like, holy shit, they're going to lose. It just brought 2016 flashbacks. And they did. And that was like literally that was when I thought that the Democrats were going to lose. And as somebody who goes into numbers and look at the statistics and all that, it's just so funny that a superstitious feeling was like, fuck. Right. I mean, I even text some pretty big names in the Democratic Party, a picture of Hillary and Katy Perry. I go, she's going to lose. I'm just like, she's going to lose. It was just like bad omens, bad vibes. So Democrats, I know you might like Katy Perry and all that. Do not have a picture with her in your campaign. Don't do it. Just don't do it. All right, so we got to wait. See See, now they're saying 95% of the votes in on New York Times. Decision desks saying 89%. See, this is what I'm saying. They're just pulling them out of their ass. They're all over the place. And then 85. I think they all have the same numbers. Those are the same. Those are the same. Yeah, they're all the same. I'm just staying here because they have the map. But if the Democrats don't pull off this win tonight, it does tell you a lot. It kind of gives you the idea. I'm going to look at the shifts. See, there's a lot of votes. Wait, hold on a second. No, that's it. This is where actually there are more Democratic votes. These precincts right here are more Democratic. Okay. And if I recall, they're pretty. Okay, here we go, right? Okay. So this was Trump, Kamala Harris. Let's go here. Well, that's a pretty. That's a pretty Trump one. So what are we looking at? These three. So yeah, that's Kamala Harris 52 or 52-46, 57-40 Trump, 52-45 or 46 Trump. So yeah, these do lean Republican, but not like these. Let's see what this precinct did. This is a 50. Let's see what that precinct did. That precinct went Democratic 58-41. This might be close. Okay. Well, that's interesting. They must have drawn a new precinct because you got that there. $51.49. Yeah, so there hasn't been much. I think this precinct right here is going to do the Democrats in since we don't have anything there. Yeah, those are the only three precincts it looks like we're waiting for. Because if these are all being based off of that, then this precinct here should be Republican. This precinct here should be Republican, but it's not. So, well, let's just wait. Let's just wait. The fact that if we look at this map, we see this is the only Democratic precinct. We look at the current map, this one's the only Republican one, and it's slightly Republican. And this thing might be close. And there's a chunk of votes here, big chunk of votes here. Enough that if it swings decently one way or the other, we might be in recount territory. So yeah, we'll just keep on keeping on. Because yeah, I think if the Dems do lose this one, you can glean something from this to me. Where the Democrats are winning and losing can kind of give you an idea of what voters you're winning and what voters you're losing. Okay. So if we look at the shifts, we see that some of these places are becoming more Republican in these very Republican places. But we also see that the Democrats doing well as well. Now, again, the candidate for the Democrats might live in this part of the district, which might mean that that candidate is doing better. We don't know. Okay. So there might be a reason behind that. But, you know, maybe this is maybe this qualifies as an exurb type of district. Maybe Democrats don't do as well there. That's where I think Democrats are really screwing the pooch. You want to know why the reason why Democrats lose Florida? They don't realize that counties like Brevard, Pasco, Hernando, St. John's, and others like this, Flagler, they don't realize they exist. Polk County, Lake County, the Democrats are only focused on Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Osceola, Orange, Seminole, Duval, Leon, Alachua, and Gadsden. That's like all the Democrats can think of in Florida. So yeah, we just got to wait for these results. We just got to wait to see what happens. I mean, yeah, it's just like taking forever. I mean, it's only like 7:43 in the morning. I mean, in the morning. Jeez, 7:43 in the evening. Yeah, Manatee, Sarasota counties. I wouldn't say that the Democrats have abandoned Manatee County. I would say they've never been there in the first place. Uh, Pasco, they were there during the days of Deb Pruitt. I actually was the founder of the Pasco County Young Democrats, actually. Yeah, but yeah, I am a little bit tired because it's just I get up extremely early. I probably got up at about 5:15 this morning. I just get up extremely early. All right, T Cats. See you later. Thank you for coming on board. See you in the next live stream. Thank you for being a supporter of the channel as well. Thank you. See if any of the others have any updates. See, and this gives you another idea too. This is actually inaccurate because there are write-in votes, and I mean, granted, it's only 4, but they show them here in the totals on the New York Times. But decision desk they don't show you, so you see 2,981 to 2,985 because they include the 4. So this is technically the most accurate of results. And that matters because if we're talking about a recount within 1%, this 0.1 can matter quite a bit. Okay. Okay, I'll check that stuff out later. No, I am not. Luckily, I am not in Florida right now. I would not go back to that state. Oh my god. I remember seeing Florida Man when Florida Man was not known as Florida Man. It was just known as Joe, your neighborhood. Pinellas County is filled with Florida men. John, thank you for the super chat. Do you think that his ethnic sounding name hurt him? Well, are you talking about Sonia wait, who hurt who? Um, so I don't know whose ethnic sounding name. I'm not sure who we're talking about. Go ahead and put that in the chat, and I'll see. Thank you for the super chat. Um, It's so funny. It's like Florida goes is where woke goes to die. Though those people are such like the snowflakiest people on earth. How dare you say something that hurts my feelings? It's just ridiculous. Um, yeah, John. Just Sonya. Yeah, I don't think so. Um, but you never know. Racism plays a big role in stuff. You never know. I mean, after Trump, because here's the thing: after Trump, he's he's going to be president until he's dead. I think if Donald Trump is alive in 2019, he's going to be president. I mean, 2019, Jesus, my brain is just shut off now. 2029, if he's alive in 2029, he will be president at 1 p.m. on January 20th. You know, like CoffeeZilla says, everyone's breaking the law, right? Well, I mean the name Sonya, and Sonya isn't like I knew people back in Florida named Sonya. And then Satini, that just sounds Italian. So I don't think that name really matters. Yeah, these results are taking a long time, and a lot of viewers have just kind of like, you know, shut out. So we've lost some viewers. I'm fine with that because it's just we are waiting. We are just waiting. You know what? I mean, if Trump would not have won, regardless of who it was, if he didn't win in 2016, we'd be going through none of this. So thank you again, John, for the super chat. Put a like on that. I'm trying to put a like on it, but it's not letting me put a like on it. So I'll just put a little star on it. Thank you. Epstein files don't fucking matter. Like everyone's, I'm getting tired. Epstein files will not change a single vote. Okay. I hear people talking about, he invaded Venezuela because of the Epstein. No. Okay. He is a megalomaniac. He's a wannabe dictator. Okay. Whether Jeffrey Epstein existed or not, he was going to invade Venezuela. It had nothing to do with the Epstein files. Okay. True. They're hiding stuff in the Epstein files just because he can do it. Right. But it's not going to change a single damn vote because the people are already on the Democratic side saying, yeah, see, it's crap. If there was stuff that came out on the Epstein files, the Republicans would be like, oh, that's AI generated bullshit, right? So the Epstein file, I'm tired of hearing about the Epstein files. Okay. The only reason I'm not tired is for the victims, right? They deserve their due justice. They deserve Jeffrey Epstein did go to jail, and I don't think he was killed. I think he hung himself because he was a guy who was used to having everything. Now he was in a federal prison, right? Okay. There we go. Not into conspiracy shit, but it's not going to matter. It's just not going to matter at the end. So I'm tired of hearing about Jeffrey Epstein. I want the victims to get their justice, and that's as far as I want to go with it. Talking about he was with Mossad and all. He's dead now. Who gives a shit? He's not going to give anything to Mossad being 6 foot under. So, yeah, I mean, the Epstein thing just pisses me off because it's just not. Actually, I put that. I do have a blue sky if many of you don't know. I actually put that in my blue sky today. It was the last thing I put. So here, Seriously, Democrats, Trump invading Venezuela has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Even if Epstein didn't exist, he would have invaded Venezuela because Trump is a power-hungry, ego-driven madman. This would have happened regardless. Quit acting like everything is a deflection to Epstein. And that's me in a nutshell when it comes to talking about Epstein. Well, we don't know. So, Ben, you say we have 319 votes left in South Carolina. We don't know how many votes we have because we don't know how many been cast. We can't predict turnout. That could be correct if someone has an actual number, but we don't know. We don't know. Now, let's see. That's 2022. 11709. Okay. So we're only at about 25% of 2022 midterm turnout numbers. So we are looking at a low turnout election, which so okay, we kind of are starting to see this here. If it's a low turnout election like this one looks like it's going to be, then that doesn't help Democrats in these special elections. If it's in the middle, it seems to help Democrats. We're not going to have presidential election turnout. Some states we can kind of see that, like Florida. But, yeah. This right now, the number is 25.5% of the votes that have been counted. That only accounts for 25.5% of 2022 votes. Now, remember, with Afton Bain, that was 99.5%. I mean, her race, there's a lot to look into. That was basically a midterm turnout race. So this turnout has been dog shit in South Carolina. Oh, well, okay, so somebody says I want his accomplices to be held accountable, including Trump. Okay, like there I agree. It's not going to happen. Right? It's not going to happen, but I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. But for people so that I agree with. I think that goes along with what I was saying for, to have justice and all that. And see, here's another thing that Republicans do not understand. They're like, Bill Clinton was in it. Bill Clinton was in it. Democrats don't give a shit if you throw Bill Clinton in a slammer, right? Democrats don't give a shit. We don't have this dear leader syndrome like the Republicans do. They're like, Bill Clinton did it. Fine. Throw him in the slammer. Okay. You don't see a Barack Obama in those files, but I can agree with you on that. That I agree with. That's fine. Nothing will happen, but I think that's fine. But what I hate is when somebody says Trump did this to deflect from the Epstein files. No, Trump did this just because he's an egomaniac, power hungry, and just did it. Jeffrey Epstein didn't exist, he would have still done it. He did it way before probably even knew Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? So I can agree with you there. Yeah, but as I said, Ben, so 89% in so far, 11% left. That's total of, again, you got 85 there. You got 91% here. You got 89%. Like people, they're just pulling the numbers out of their ass. I mean, really, I'm not joking. That with these numbers of like how many of the votes still out, they're just pulling it out of their ass. They don't know a total number. They might have created some formula to get a rough idea, but still at the end of the day, it's pulling it out of your ass. It's making maybe a best assumption, but that's about it. I have this one bug that is pissing me off in here. I gotta kill. Um, well, I mean, Obama. I said Obama was not in the Epstein files, and neither is. I mean, even Hunter Biden is not in the Epstein files. I didn't see Maduro in them. True. All right, now we got some more numbers coming in. Now, could these be, they're saying 95 plus. Could these be the final numbers? These might be the final numbers. So we are in recount territories. It'll be interesting. Okay, so we are now in automatic recount territory. There will be, I have a feeling this is it. Let's look at the, wait, hold on. Let's look at the swing or the shift. Okay, look, yeah, see, those came more Democratic. So it looks like all the precincts are in. Okay, looks like all the precincts are in. And guess what, guys? We don't have a result. Okay? A 21 vote difference here. Okay? 21 votes. We do not have a result. This will go to a recount. So no one has won it and nobody has lost it. So this drama will drag out a little bit longer. Interesting. So we'll keep an eye on this election over the next coming days. I don't know when the recount would start. Let's see what it says for recount laws. A candidate or candidates can waive a recount in writing. I highly doubt that Sonia Satini would do that. I assume the recount would commence almost immediately, because I don't know what the date would be to certify the results. So remember, they got to first certify the results with the county and then certify the results with the state. So the county is going to be in charge of the recount. The county is going to be in charge of the first certification. Did we just get more votes? No. I thought I saw the numbers switch. All right. I mean, to me, this wasn't as big. I mean, okay. It is a good swing, right? Because what did the Republicans have last time? They had 57.8% to 42.1%. Okay, so, and again, Chris Murphy, not the Chris Murphy you're thinking of. So that actually is still a swing to the Democratic side. So we don't want to take away from that. It is still a swing to the Democratic side. However, so I guess, I don't know. The turnout is low. The turnout is really low. Let's see if the New York Times actually has some reporting on this. Does anybody know of a South Carolina authority when it comes to elections? Like a John Ralston that you have in Nevada? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I'm reading here. So what will happen is these results that you see, if these are 100% in, still might have some more votes out there. These are the results here. They will be certified. Then the recount will, once they're certified, they're within 1%, then the recount will automatically be triggered from those certified results. Once that automatic recount is triggered, then they'll recertify the results. Then those will go to the state, and the state will certify them. And from what it looks like, it could be done within the week. Now I'm looking at a primary that was earlier last year, and they said that the primary was on Tuesday. Everything I just told you, and that a winner should be declared by Friday. So I bet in this situation, we'll start seeing. We'll probably get an idea of who the winner is on Friday. Yeah, but overall, I think this is it. I mean, unless. Well, wait. No, hold on. Oh, okay. That's. I'm looking at the wrong one. Huh. That's a good question too. Let me look that up. I mean, South Carolina is you need an excuse to vote absentee. So there won't be many votes, but we're not talking about many votes. So I'm just looking up the absentee rules in South Carolina. Okay, so ballots must be received by the county voter registration office by 7 p.m. on election day. Um, so that means that if they're not in now, they do not count. It does not matter if they were postmarked yesterday, if they didn't arrive today at 7 p.m., they do not count. So all the votes that we see are all the votes that are in. So no other votes will matter. I'll see if there's exception for overseas. No. So that's what so yeah, there won't be any more coming in. Oh wait. Yeah, someone made a point here. These two are not these two are not showing up yet. See. Yeah, so those two are okay. So we might not be done yet. Those two are not showing up yet. I think that it'll make it closer, but I don't know if it'll make it. So we'll wait. We'll wait. We'll see if we get those. Whoever mentioned that, I forgot. Clever elections, one precinct, not in the southeast. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so we got a few more minutes to wait. I mean, holy, it's 9 p.m. there, people. It is an election with like 3,400 people who are voting. You can't count, and we're waiting for two of the smallest precincts. You can't get this stuff done. Wow. And I think based on the size of those precincts, now see, you know what? So here's another thing. Okay, let me go over here. So as you can see, you got here, but you don't have them here. So chances are what you have, or you have sub precincts. So you'll have like precinct 101, but then you might have precinct 101A, precinct 101B, precinct 101C. So chances are these are sub precincts of these larger precincts. So this precinct went 67% for Kamala Harris. This one won 52% for Kamala Harris. So these will be Democratic. Now, the question becomes really, are those going to be enough to give the Democrat the edge? Because if anyone knows anything about the 2000 election, the important thing for the Republicans was they were never not leading that race during the whole entire recount stuff. So, oh. I didn't think I'd be doing this for 2 hours and 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Thought we would be done by now. I think because these are sub precincts, we are still going to go to a recount. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe these overwhelmingly become Democratic. But with the Democrat being behind, I think we're still in recount territory. Was Florida stolen? Yeah. Okay. Or okay. Yes and no. They didn't let all the votes be counted because of federal interference by the Supreme Court, which shouldn't have happened because it's under the purview of the um, of the states, according to the Constitution. But had Palm Beach County not fucked up their butterfly ballots, we would have had President Al Gore. That's what it is, because they didn't screw up their butterfly ballots. Then going into that fight, Gore would have been the one in the lead. What my view is that people who went to the polls on election day in Florida, most of them had the intention to vote for Gore. But some of them voted for Pat Buchanan because their ballot was screwed up. So yeah, we just gotta wait now. Well, okay, to give you an idea, if people don't know about this, let's people don't know about this. Let's go down to the county results. So here you got all the county results. You got George, you got Bush, you got Gore, you got Nader, you got Buchanan, you got various other candidates, blah, blah, blah. You see Pat Buchanan here, you know, 0.3, 0.9, whatever. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. Oops. As far as percentage, Palm Beach County, he got 3,411 votes in predominantly Jewish um, precincts down Century Village, all that area. Okay. So that number is pretty high. Well, let's go not percentage, but let's go with numbers, right? So in Palm Beach, he had 3,000. Pat Buchanan had 3,411 votes. The next neighboring county, Broward County, which is a larger county, Pat Buchanan had 795 votes. And you go down to Miami-Dade, even a larger county, 560. He had 3 times as many votes in Palm Beach County as he had in Pinellas County. So, in Pinellas County, it was very similar in size. So, do I totally blame the supervisor of elections for Palm Beach County for the loss? Yes. Because that number there, that would have at least been probably 3,000 less. Okay. If that was 3,000 less, that puts Al Gore in the lead going into this battle. All right. I'll probably do a video tomorrow about the upcoming Senate races. I'm going to do a review on the state house races, but I'll probably do one on the Senate races tomorrow. There was a news blackout in Florida during the Gore election. What what are you talking about? What do you mean by there was a news blackout in Florida? I've only voted for a Republican twice. Bill Sublet for Florida House State 40 District in 1992, and for Rick Keller, Republican congressman from Orlando, in 2008, running against Alan Grayson. I'm glad to say that both of those votes were good votes. Those are the only Republicans I've ever voted for. Peltola, I talked about her earlier. I smart move. She should run for Senate. Alaska, I think Alaska. Well, yeah, and so see, here's the problem. Susan Collins is like Mike Lawler in New York, right? It's just the no matter, it's like the cockroach that will never die, right? No matter how you hit it, and that's just kind of how I see her. Um, I think Plattner is not a good candidate. I mean, you can't sit there and complain about Republicans being Nazis and then have a guy who literally has a Nazi tattoo on him. Okay. And people will say, well, when he got that tattoo, that was years ago and he was young and and he didn't know what it meant. What, he hasn't Google searched it in the last 20, 30 years to see what it meant? I mean, come on, get real, people. Um, what, if he's totally oblivious to what it is over the last, 20 or 30 years, that's a him problem, not a me problem. Yeah, actually, her running for the Senate was like really big in the rumor mill today. So, I think one of them, Axios or something, announced it. So that was really big in the rumor mill. Um, will you vote or would I vote for John Kasich? No, no. I mean, if maybe I'd vote for him in a Republican primary for, and I voted. Okay, I voted for 3 Republicans. Third one I voted for was Mitt Romney in the 2012 Republican primary here in Illinois because there was no one on the Democratic ballot. And I wanted to go and pick who I thought was going to be the worst candidate to run against Barack Obama. And I thought out of all the candidates, uh, he was easily the worst candidate because he was the most corporatist candidate of them all. So I have voted technically for uh, 3 Republicans. Okay, that's a different story. No, it's like Plantner may lose the progressive vote. It's like the progressives are the ones that are the ones backing it up, and it's just like, okay, yeah, someone's a progressive, but Jesus H Christ on a popsicle stick. There's got to be a point where you stand up for something and say something's wrong. Okay, it's just like, oh well, he's he's pro Gaza, he's anti-Israel, so therefore, no matter what, we're going to vote for him. No, that's, to me at least, that's not how it works. I worked for John Edwards in 2008, and 2004, out west. I won't disagree with you saying he was shady. I won't. No, see, here's the thing. And this goes back to the point that a lot of Democrats don't understand. Corporatism, rich people who feel like that their shit doesn't stink. And I'm talking about corporatists, people who look like they would be in a boardroom and everything is done. They look perfect and all that. Um, Americans don't want that. The reason why Trump won and he was a businessman, he won, he was disheveled, he looked like shit, he was a loudmouth and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't your typical businessman, right? Romney looked like somebody who would steal your child's candy and give it to the stockbrokers or something like that. People don't like those kind of people. Trump, if Trump wasn't the loudmouth piece of shit that he was, then he wouldn't have won. Okay, so somebody mentioned Zach Walz in Iowa. I actually like, and those are some of the candidates. I'm going to email them in the next few days, see if they would want to do an interview on the channel. To be honest with you, I think the Iowa candidates are all the Senate candidates for the Democrats that I've seen, except for the perennial ones and stuff like that, uh, are impressive. I think whoever wins that, good for them, and they would easily have the support of the others. The Iowa 4 will not switch. The Iowa 4 is the northeast one, I believe, or the northwest one. That will not switch. That's where Skidmore, Missouri? Yeah, Skidmore, Missouri is. If you don't know about Skidmore, Missouri, what was his name? McElroy. That's a really weird story there. Hochul will win. Yeah. Oh wait, see, this is one of the okay. Please, everybody, if you are in it, it should be down in the description below. Please let me know if it's not. Please go ahead and join my Discord that I have here because somebody just mentioned something very interesting, which is that I see somebody here say, "Are you voting Bo Bai for Secretary of State?" I assume that's Evan Bai's son running in Indiana. I'm not sure. This is the reason why I'd like you all to. I don't know all of the elections. And a lot of times I hear about the elections because somebody mentions them on Discord or like in the chat or something like this. I'm like, oh, if that's Evan Bai's son or Birch Bai's grandson or something like that, I didn't know that. That would be really like he would be a candidate. It would be interesting to interview. I have my picture with Evan Bai somewhere because I was at the 1993 Young Democrats of America National Convention. It was in Maryville, Indiana. Small hotel, but he was there. He was one of the guests there. So I've met Evan Bai. Nice guy. I like Evan Bai. There are a lot of good Democrats in Indiana that I liked. Okay, see, now this is where I'm going to be just totally honest with you. And I mentioned this before. I wrote about this in my Substack, which I probably won't be doing anymore, but I wrote about it nonetheless. David Jolly will win if he runs against Byron Donalds purely because of race. We're already seeing what Ramaswamy, a race element, really coming out in that one. Byron Donalds runs. I'm telling you, there will be a lot of people in the panhandle that will not vote for a black candidate. So yeah. So could he win? Yeah. Well, and Evan Bai was kind of a moderate, but Birch Bai was not. Birch Bai was a progressive. He a big time progressive. He was one of those people who was at the forefront of civil rights before like a lot of people were. And I think people think that Birch Bai was kind of now he was in a plane accident with Ted Kennedy as well. I mean, they both could have almost died. But Birch Bai, like he was a true progressive. And that's another thing. If you like election history, go check out my election history channel. It's just election history. Okay. So go ahead and check that out. Okay, so Gillum came close in 2018. You're right. It's not that it's a certain group of Republican voters won't vote for a black candidate. I think if the candidate is a black candidate on the Democratic side, it's a little bit different. But if it's a black candidate on the Republican side, there's enough racism going to Lake City and heading west that I think it would hurt. So, yeah. Oh, I mean, honestly, in the 2018 gubernatorial Democratic primary, I would have supported Gwen Graham. I didn't live down there. But if you go to the Florida Squeeze, Kartik Krishnaiyer and he's the one that I'm doing the new show with. He had been talking on the Florida Squeeze about all the shady shit that Andrew Gillum was involved with when he was mayor of Tallahassee. And like, I know people from Tallahassee and Leon County who voted for DeSantis because they thought Gillum was a huge crook. And then we end up finding out that he was. So yeah. We still don't have any updates. We might end the stream here soon. I mean, it's only 8:30, but for me, it's 8:30. Might end the stream soon because I don't know if anything else is going to come in. I mean, I think we're in recount territory anyway. Nope. Bro, Trump gave his endorsement. Panhandle will vote red. Okay, this goes back to what I said about the races that we've had in Florida so far. In both the first congressional district and the third state house district in Florida, we had more Republicans vote than the amount of votes that Republicans received in those two races, which means that you are having a major shift of non Republican voters and some Republican voters going over to the Democrats. Trust me, Micken, I worked in politics in Florida for over 30 years. I know how those people vote. There will be a racist element when you get to some of those smaller counties like Liberty, Washington, Holmes, and places like that. Trump's endorsement doesn't mean shit if the candidate is not of a certain color. I'm just telling you that. Because there are some points where they will just be like, nope, not going that far. And it's unfortunate. It sucks. It's sad, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, let's see how the maps are redrawn. Jared Moskowitz. I think Jared Moskowitz would be the best candidate just because he wouldn't pull any punches. And that's what the Democrats need. It's just somebody who goes out there and, gives them hell. I think that Jolly and Demings are not strong candidates. I don't really know who the hell is running for the U.S. Senate, and I think that's the case. Oh yeah, okay. So you're talking about Moskowitz running for the Senate. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move. Um, I don't think Florida will be blue again yet. We'll see what happens here. Now there is one candidate that could run for U.S. Senate. Dave Ehrenberg. He used to be a state senator, I think. Dave Ehrenberg. He might have been the Democratic leader. He's on MSNBC, I think now, or MS Now, or whatever the hell it's called, from time to time. So Ehrenberg would be a good candidate to run, but he's like a district attorney in, or something like he's some one of those attorneys down in Palm Beach County. I mean, to go back, I remember Blue Dog Democrats. Go back into the day, I actually was the founder of the Young Blue Dog Coalition. Went up to Washington in 1994 and met with most of the Blue Dogs. I sat in on one of their caucus meetings, but I met individually with John Tanner of Tennessee, Bill Brewster of Oklahoma, Charlie Stenholm of Texas, a guy I always wanted to meet. I've got my pictures with all Gene Taylor, who's now a Republican of Mississippi. I got my pictures with Brewster, Taylor. Didn't get it with Tanner. Gary Condit I met with, and Gary Condit actually offered to have me work in his office. And this was maybe I don't know when the Chandra Levy thing was. Was that 1996? So this would have been like 2 years before the Chandra Levy stuff. So I mostly spent most of my time in Gary Condit's office. And like his chief of staff that they talked about, like in all the Chandra Levy stuff, I knew who that guy was. But like I had interacted with him, but it's so far removed I don't remember now. I met with Bill Orton, but then I also met with Bill Orton when he was in Utah because I was the national committee man for the Young Democrats of Utah. Who else? There's one I'm missing. What? There's an Alabama congressman, Browder, something like that. I forgot who his name. Was it? Yeah. So let's see, Alabama. Congressional delegation, because I do have a Alabama, Glenn Browder. So I met with him. Bud Kramer. So I met with Bud Kramer. He's also from Alabama. And so I met with him. I didn't meet one-on-one with him like I did with all these others. So all the other ones I met one-on-one with. I think I met with Sanford Bishop one-on-one as well. Um, so I met with Bud Kramer. I don't think I met him in his office. But we did talk in the caucus room. But after I did my whole day meeting with all these congressmen, I started walking across the street and like Bud Kramer almost hit me. He had like a Jeep Cherokee or something like that. And like I was crossing the street and he came and like slammed on his brakes. And I see the Alabama thing. And then I see him in the window. And like I just start laughing. And I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. I think he wanted to get, I mean, this was like way later in the day. But but yeah, that was pretty funny. So yeah, I was involved with that back in the day. So yeah, back in the 1990s, I met tons of Democrats. That's when I was really heavily involved. Um, yeah. All right, guys. No, I was not a progressive at that time. Okay. I am one of those people that as I have gotten older, I have progressed more on economic issues. When it comes to social issues, I'm very much the same as I was. Right? I am a moderate to some issues center right, some issues center left, some issues right, some issues left, right? I would not say that I fall in line with the average Democrat when it comes to social issues. I probably would say I don't fall in line with the average Democrat when it came to economic issues because they're too damn corporatist. So yeah. Sam Nunn was not technically a blue dog because he was in the U.S. Senate, and the Blue Dog Coalition is a House caucus. Same thing with Richard Shelby. By that time, Richard Shelby had already changed parties. I think the other senator there was Howell Heflin at the time. So yeah. Okay, guys. So I think we're going to go ahead and stop for tonight. So I think we're going to go ahead and finish tonight because I don't know if we're going to get any more votes. And if we do, you'll see them, right? But I think no matter what we have, we're in recount mode. So, no. Did you meet Al Gore as vice president? No. I met him as a U.S. senator. I have never met Al Gore as vice president. I never met Hillary Clinton as first lady. I only met her as former first lady of Arkansas. As a matter of fact, do I still have my book here? Like I got like I think I probably still have it in here somewhere. Got all these books here. And I had one. Jesus. Nah, I must not have it right now. Oh yeah, I do. There it is. Now I'm going to have to put all these back. So here, this book by Bill Clinton, right here. Okay, so I got this signed. I still have the card in here. Bill Clinton, Governor Bill Clinton, Senator Al Gore. What's the date on that? October 5th, 1992. So I got now I had met Bill and Hillary before that in 1991 at the Democratic Convention in Orlando. But yeah, you can see that it is signed by both of them right there. Right? So yeah, so I met them. I met again with Hillary. No, I met again with Bill Clinton when he was president in Tampa. There was a town hall that he had in Tampa, 1993, 1994. I think. So I met with Bill Clinton then. Hillary Clinton came to some. Oh, Hillary Clinton came as a keynote speaker to like the 1994, 1995 Florida Democratic Party convention. I saw her there. I met her there. Yeah, I never met. I met Al Gore in Titusville because at this event, so I was working for Buddy Dyer, who is now the mayor of Orlando. It was his first ever state Senate campaign. I was working for Buddy Dyer. I was also the vice president of the Central Florida Young Democrats, involved with the Democratic Party. So I was able to get into all the events, right? That's how I got this. And got both of them, Hillary and Bill, to sign that. But Al Gore could not make that, which means that I can't find it here. That the only person there was Tipper Gore, who is now not his wife, but she was able to sign a book I had of Al Gore's. So, oh, here it is right here. I didn't even realize it. Here it is right here. Earth in the Balance. So Tipper Gore's is right there. I need to get Al Gore to sign this. That's going to be something eventually on my list. So, I have a Newt Gingrich autograph book. Do you want it? No. It's a hard no. Yeah. Sorry. With that being the case, let's go ahead and tonight's live stream. I will be doing a live stream next week because we have that state house district, the 63rd State House District in Alabama. Please, if you're not a member of if you're not on here, please like, subscribe, everything to the channel. If you want to become a Patreon member, I'm trying to hit 300 Patreon members before or as soon as possible. I've made the commitment. If I get 300 Patreon members, I'm going to really focus on doing this full time. The lowest entry is $3 a month, but there's also other levels as well. I'm going to eventually do Patreon only videos and so on and so forth. So, yeah. So if you want to become a Patreon member, the link is down below. Please check it out. And yeah. So I want to thank you all very much. Now I got to put all these books back. Okay. But it was good. It was fun. All right. Well, have a nice night, and I will see you in a live stream a week from now, but I will see you in a video tomorrow. See ya.